Still can't see my chat. Search. I'm already streaming, so I don't want to see that. Yeah, we are trying to get this thing together.
Turn it off again?
Huh?
Can you turn it off again?
No. Let me see something. No, it's not right there. I just want to figure out how I can see my chat. I should be able to see it. Can you see it?
Chat? No chat.
That's what I'm saying.
You probably gotta do these steps from that one.
Yeah, we have been trying to get this chat together. So I'm gonna let y'all know that I'm not able to see you guys' chat currently, right? But at the end of this video, when it's live, if y'all have any questions or anything, put your comments in the chat and then we're gonna reply back to y'all, okay? But currently I don't have access to my chat and I cannot see the chat, but we're gonna keep it pushing, okay? We are already an hour late behind, but there's no excuses on. Okay, but there's no excuses on, why we're not gonna keep it moving, right? So before we begin anything, you guys, I want to say, hey beauties, how y'all doing? Y'all finally see your girl live. You guys, I should have like recorded this from like the behind the scenes. If you guys could see me, especially like starting late and stuff or whatever. I'm a person where I just don't like to be late and stuff. But that's the rule of the game. You just have to keep going. You can't quit. Just because you start a little late doesn't mean you're like, okay, you know what, I can't show up, right? Because if you don't show up, then your supporters is not going to show up. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and cut that out now. That's not something we believe in. We believe in keep going, and keep the momentum going. High spirits, high frequency, high energy. And that is what Dear Me is all about, right? So again, I want to say, hey, beauties, welcome to our first live to the Dear Me. I am your host, Tashiana. I am also the creator of Dear Me, I Am Me. And it was just time to just step it up a notch. You feel me? It was just time to step it up a notch. So before we get into anything, I want to pause for a second. And I want you guys to just ask yourself, like, how have I been feeling lately? Like, honestly, like, how have I been feeling lately? And if you have been following us on YouTube, because this is nothing new, but if you have been following us on YouTube, then one of the things that we always ask ourselves is, how is our mental on a scale of 1 to 10? How is your mental on a scale of 1 to 10? Now, normally I would tell you guys, put it in the chat, right? But like I said, once this live is completely like published, then if you guys remember this question, how is your mental on a scale of 1 to 10? So because we are having an abundant day and it's Monday, I'm honestly say like my mental is my grade for my mental right now is a 7.5. Okay. And I'm gonna be completely real with you guys. It is a 7.5, which means that it's a bit above okay. All right. It's a bit above okay. It's just like, like we're good right now. And I just think it's because a little bit anxiety, because like I said, we are an hour behind. But eventually it's gonna calm down. But great spirits. We're in great spirits. But like I had said, how have you guys been feeling lately? And when you're asking yourself, like, how am I feeling? I really want you guys to be as honest as possible. Okay. Like, this is not, okay, let me fake it for my family. Let me fake it for my spouse. Let me fake it for my friends. I really want you guys to be in tune with yourself, your inner self, not your outer self, your inner self, and just be like, like, how am I doing? And to just emit like your truth. Okay. So um tonight isn't just alive. Okay. Tonight isn't just alive. This is a conversation that we're going to have back and forth. This is a moment where you're going to stop running and you're going to stop being fake with yourself, and you're going to honestly get to know you and how you're feeling. Okay. So I want you guys to stop distracting yourself and take this moment and this time to finally sit with you. So, as you guys already know, go ahead and light your candle. Y'all see, we got our candle. I'm learning. Which finger is it? We got our candle over there. We got our serene candle over there. We got our tea. We have our water, and we are just we're set for tonight, okay? And I want you guys to do the same thing, because this is a ritual that we're going to be doing. It's time for us to relax. We done had a long day. Okay, it has been a long day, right? And we are Eastern Standard Time. It is 8:23. And the one thing that we want to do is we just want to relax. So I want you to finally sit with you, because at some point in my life, I had to sit down and I had to write myself a letter, because to be honest, everything wasn't perfect. You know what I'm saying? And there was a time where I realized, like, like I was losing me. Okay. And I know you guys have been times in your life where you felt like, like you was losing yourself, right? So that is where the Dear Me was created. Dear Me was created because there was a time where I had to sit down, and it wasn't a letter. To be honest, my letter was me starting the Dear Me um podcast, right? And I just started venting in the park, and I just let it go, which is something that I had showed you guys in a previous vlog, where the Dear Me was all created, right? So that was my letter. My letter was given it out to the world, because I just felt as though like I wasn't the only one that was going through certain things at a certain time. We all are going through something. One thing that we all have in common is a story. It might not be the same story, but we have a story, right? We all have a story, and mine just so happened to be a letter live. And this is where we are today. Now, before we go any further, because people can be people, I want to read y'all our disclaimer. Okay. I really want to read y'all our disclaimer, because like I said, people can be people. But before that, I need to drink a little water. So I want to read you guys the Dear Me disclaimer before we get started. So the Dear Me program is designed to encourage self-reflection, personal awareness, and emotional growth through guided journaling and intentional conversation. This program is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. Okay? The information, prompts, and discussion shared with the Dear Me program are not intended to replace professional, medical, psychological, legal, or financial advice. Participation in this program does not establish a therapeutic or clinical relationship. While many participants find journaling and self-reflection supportive in their personal growth journey, individual experiences may vary. If you are currently experiencing severe emotional distress, mental health challenges, or require professional support, we strongly encourage you to seek guidance from a licensed therapist, counselor, or a qualified healthcare provider. Okay. By participating in the Dear Me program, you acknowledge that you are responsible for your own well being, choices, and personal development throughout the program experience. The Dear Me program and its creator aim to provide a supportive and empowering environment. Okay. But results, breakthroughs, and outcomes would differ for each individual. So take what resonates. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Take what resonates, lead what doesn't, and most importantly, be gentle with yourself. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Can I get some ones in there that everybody understand what Dear Me program is all about? Again, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to our first live. You guys are going to expect a lot that's going to be happening during our Dear Me lives. Um, it would be happening Mondays from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Like I said, today we started a little late, but guess what? We are still here. Okay. So, I want to get into where there was a moment when I realized I was showing up for everyone else, but I wasn't showing up for me. Okay. So it's when I say this, I'm saying that there was a moment where I was losing myself. Okay. Have you ever felt like, you was just losing yourself, when you're focused on the outward, you know, and you're not focusing on the inner you, right? So there was a moment where I was losing myself. I was being in survivor mode. I was just going through different emotions, and I was going through like this internal disconnect of the inner character, right? So one thing I want to say is that when you're losing yourself, um, your your focus um, can easily drift away. Okay, from when I say it can drift away from your goals. It can drift away from your passion. It can drift away from your values, and and you just feel as though like you don't know what to do anymore, right? And you start feeling guilty of rest and just saying no to people, right? And we start saying no to people. That is something that we call people pleasing, right? And that is something that you don't want to do. So the truth is that a lot of us don't even know. um I'm gonna say a lot of us don't even realize, we are disconnected from ourselves until life gets really, really quiet. Okay. And when life gets quiet, you start to go into like this solitude moment where you're forced to be honest with yourself, right? And that is something that I had to go through a couple of years ago. And solitude isn't a bad thing. I just think that a lot of people don't like to sit with themselves, right? And they want to keep on moving on, go all the time. But there comes a time in your life where you have to sit down in your life and you just have to be aligned, and you have to be very, very narrow with the direction and the path that you feel as though like you're ready to go, right? But there comes a time when, like I said before, where you just have where life gets quiet, and you have to be you have to say no, right? So in chat, I want you guys to tell me, how are y'all feeling right now? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Be honest with me. Like I keep telling you guys, when was the last time that you guys checked in with yourself? When was the last time that you guys checked in with yourselves? Again, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to the first Dear Me workshop live. I am just so, so grateful for you guys. So I did something a little different. Okay. So, like I told you guys before, I wrote this little letter to myself. In fact, it was a lot of letters. I wish you guys can see. So, some of the notebooks that I actually do have that I have wrote over the course of time, I actually put them away. But for generations after me to be able to, read the notebooks. But I have some notebooks that of letters that I write to myself all the time. Like I write at least like 3 days. Um, I mean, not 3 days. I actually write like three times, like a day, because there's so many things that goes on in our mind, right? And to be honest, we don't remember everything that goes on in our mind, whether it's an idea or whether it's a story or whatever it may be, a thought. When I feel as though like, oh, this need to be written down, like there's always a notebook like somewhere, right? So, but before I got into writing letters and journaling, um, like I said, that is where the Dear Me podcast came about. There was a time where I didn't know how to journal, but I had learned how to journal through audio. And I found a lot of myself um telling the story to everyone on a certain host of where like the Dear Me podcast was first started. So instead of me, like I said, instead of having a journal, you guys can write any type of way. Some people don't like to journal in a book and stuff, whatever. They like to journal on audio, whichever is best for you, do that, right? You have to start somewhere. But there was a time where it was created and it was on audio, and now is both. But I want to tell you guys why journaling matters, right? So writing helps you to organize and release your thoughts. Okay, because like I said, there are a million things that goes on in your mind. So it helps you to release your thoughts, right? And it help you to effectively communicate, whether it's like your personal expression. It also helps you with assisting in your emotions. For example, the other day, like I woke up, I was in a bad, bad mood. And instead of me getting up and being in this grumpy mood to everyone in my home, I was like, you know what? Let me be very aware of how I'm feeling right now. Let me go to my room and let me write in this journal and get it all out of why I feel the way I feel. Sometimes it can be like you didn't get no rest. Sometimes it can be because you had a bad dream or whatever it may be for you. But for me, I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And I was just like, the best thing for me to do is just write this out, pray it out, and then we're gonna leave it where it's at and we're gonna go on about our day. And that's exactly what happened. So it helps you to assist in your emotions, right? And it's one of the most therapeutic outlets to navigate stress, anxiety, and it's also allow you to be able to create a legacy, right? So once that journal book closes, guess what? You're going to open up another one. Next thing you know, you're going to have more and more journals and stuff or whatever. And now you create a legacy for generations after you to be able to read, right? So it also allows you to be able to be honest with ourselves, right? How many of you guys feel as though like I said, you haven't been really honest with yourself, right? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Journaling allows you to be honest with yourselves. When you journal, right? Or you answer questions on a worksheet, which we're going to go over later, or on a worksheet, you're forced to look at the lies and also the truth that you're going to put on that paper. That's when honesty begins, right? You know, it's very easy for you to stay in your head. It's very easy to you to edit, to avoid, and to dress up your awareness to other people, right? But guess what? That is not what happens when you put those words on paper. Because let me tell you something, when you put those words on paper, let me tell you the difference between when you speaking to somebody, you can lie to them, right? But guess what? A page, it doesn't react. This piece of paper right here, right? It doesn't react. It doesn't judge, and it's not a human, so it can't interrupt, right? So you don't have to filter out the truth when you're writing it in your journal or in your worksheet. You get what I'm saying? So when you're writing, right, it allows you to write everything out on surface, right? Like I said, you're able to be like very, very honest with yourself, authentic and very transparent about what you have going on in life, right? You're able to uncover the real emotion that's underneath, right? Which holds you to be accountable. It holds you to be very self-aware. It allows you to reread your old patterns, right? Because as you continue to journal, as you continue to write, as you continue to build that confidence, you're able to go back and reread the old patterns of the things that you've written down, right? Because you have evolved, right? And it allows you to, like I said, grow and not contradict yourself, right? One thing I want to say is when you write, you can't hide anything. You, like I said, you have to speak on your truth, and that's it, right? So it often means that you are admitting what you're going through right now, right? So that is something that I want to talk to you guys about, of the reason why um this topic. Hold on, give me 1 second, you guys. This topic, the letter that I had written to myself was so important because this the letter that I written to myself wasn't just about me um facing my truth, my honesty, and whatever my emotions of what I have going on. But the letter that I written for myself was also for you guys, right? So you guys are able to write your letters and you're able to like face whatever you may be going through as well. But the difference is that you don't have to do this by yourself, right? You will be able to have a community and you're able to speak on what you're going through to to the community as well, right? So a lot of us, I want to get into a little bit of identity and also emotional awareness for a little bit. We're not going to go too much into it, but just a little bit, tap it in a little bit. But a lot of us, I feel as if like a lot of us don't have. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of us don't have a clarity problem, right? We have a honesty problem, and a lot of time that can show up in outer our outer exterior character, meaning not the character of what we see on the inside, basically the exterior of what's going on the outside. What you guys can see right now, what you guys are looking at right now, you guys are looking at the exterior of me, right? But the person that's speaking is the inner me, right? So we have like an honesty problem, right? A lot of people show up looking a certain type of way, and just because they show up and they're looking as fresh as possible doesn't mean that how they're dressed up and what you see is their truth, right? So a lot of people have an honesty problem, which can cause different kind of friction, and you basically start to see yourself like a little differently than what other people start to see, right? So and that can be like very, very uncomfortable. Like that's something I feel as though like we all have been through before. But I want you guys to write this down for a second, okay? I know you guys have y'all worksheets. Right. I know you guys have your Dear Me journal worksheets and stuff. If not, you guys, the link is already in bio and stuff. So you guys will be able to download your worksheets and you guys can follow along. Because like I said, we're going to be live on Mondays from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And if you also do join the Dear Me program, we're going to be live and private on Wednesdays. But I want you guys to write this down. Your identity is built around your habits, right? It's not only built around your habits, it's built around your relationships and even the way you talk to yourself, right? Not only the way you talk to yourself, that's a big one. The way that you talk to yourself, right, is definitely a reflection. But I'm going to start over. Your identity is built around your habits, relationships, and even the way you talk to yourself. They all reflect either who you are becoming or the version of you that's outdated. You get that, right? But like I said, we're gonna be real on. We're gonna be real. I'm gonna say it one more time. Write this down. Your identity is built around your habits, relationships, and even the way you talk to yourself. Basically, if you talk to yourself positive, you speak in high frequency. If you're talking to yourself negative, you speak in low frequency, okay? Okay, so even the way you talk to yourself, they all reflect who you are becoming or the version of you that's outdated. All right. So I know you guys have written that down. Okay, so now that we talked about that, we're going to talk about outgrowing. We're going to talk about outgrowing versions of yourself, right? Some of us play small, right? I can admit this, right? So, and that's the reason why we hear the way we hear today, because I felt as though like I was playing small. I was like, hold on now, it's time for us to wake up a little bit. You got to stop playing small. Like, it's not like you don't know what you know, right? You know what you're talking about. Now it's time for you to feed the community of the things that you know, right? So a lot of us outgrow versions of ourselves, right? Playing small because we're comfortable, right? And also because you want to see something different in life, right? So what else did I say? When you are outgrowing yourself, sometimes you are outgrowing yourself because you are dissatisfied. Sometimes you are outgrowing yourself because you see yourself differently in life, right? So you can't heal what you keep avoiding. You can't heal what you keep avoiding, right? So stop suppressing your emotions. Okay, I want you guys to ask yourself right now. I want you guys to ask yourself. Give me 1 second. I want you guys to ask yourself, who are you becoming? Right? Who are you? Oh, sorry, excuse me. Who are you becoming? And does your life reflect the person that you are becoming? We're talking right now. Does the person, give me 1 second, y'all. My phone want to do whatever it want to do. Right? So I want you guys to ask yourself this again. Who are you becoming? And does the person you are right now reflect the person you are becoming? Does it? Write that down. Okay, so now I know, like I said, I know you guys have your worksheets. So this is the beginner Dear Me worksheet guide, right? This is the Dear Me worksheet guide, right? Tonight we're going to go over question 1. Tonight we're going to go over question 1, right? And it is hold on, my seat. We're going to go over question 1, right? And I already asked you guys about question one, and it was, how are you feeling today? Right? How are you feeling today? Or we can say, how are you feeling lately? Right? So this was something that I put inside of our private group, and it says this is based on how I was feeling before um before today, before the live. I was a little anxious because I knew the live was basically like on the way, right? So, and I had to put it in the group and I had to be real with them. And it was saying overcome fear, right? And I said, this is how I'm feeling. And I literally posted this 13 hours ago. So I posted this probably like at 5 or 6 a.m. and earlier today. So I said, overcoming fear. I said, being aware. I know I want you guys to, this is me, literally, this is actually the post that I did. I had to print it out to show y'all. But I said, overcoming fear. I said, being aware of your fear is smart. I said, overcoming it is the mark of a successful person, right? And that is by Seth Godin. I want to say Godin. That's his name. He has this. He has a workshop where it's for entrepreneurs. And this is basically where I got that quote from. I'm going to say it again. Being aware of your fear is smart. Overcoming it is the mark of a successful person. So if you guys don't know my backstory, I'm going to tell my backstory real quick. When I was younger, I had dyslexia. It basically hindered me from speaking to like my peers and stuff. And I basically held like a lot of my thoughts in. So as of right now, of the person that I am today, I said, what I'm going to do to overcome my fear is, guess what? Public speaking, right? This is something that I have been working on for a long time. Like I said, it's in the Dear Me, it's on the Dear Me podcast. If you don't know the story, that's why I'll say, go back, listen to that. The very, very beginning of it. I had, like I said, speaking problems and stuff. And basically, instead of me hindering my fear, I say, you know what? It's time for me to put fear on fear, and it's time for me to put it out there, right? Because the only person that I'm going to be hindering is myself. I'm not going to be hindering anybody else, because to be honest with you, nobody else cares, right? The only person that I'm hindering is me, right? So over the course of time, I have gotten used to speaking to all different types of people, and I just thought that this was just the perfect time to, like I said, like start the Dear Me Live. So being aware of your fear is smart. Overcoming it is the mark of a successful person. So if I didn't start this as of right now, then how I'm going to be a successful person, right? Like I said, hindering ourselves. I said, love this quote. I said, it took a long time to understand this. And I think the path we're on is a great time to utilize this feeling. I said, this basically means it's normal to feel fear. That just means you're aware and thinking. But the real growth happens when you don't let the fear stop you. I said, pushing through it is what sets successful people apart. So don't quit or slow down, because you're leading in the right direction. So that is basically the post that we did today. And like I said, that is basically how I'm feeling today, right? Today, I am overcoming a fear, and I am speaking to you guys, right? So, which I'm so happy about. So, like I said, don't overthink it, you guys. When it comes to these questions, do not overthink it. Just pause, sit in silence, and just write. That's it. Just write. So I wanted to tell you guys what this program is about, right? What the Dear Me program is about, right? Because I keep speaking on it, right? So, Dear Me program is about self awareness, it's about emotional growth, it's about reconnecting with yourselves, it's about worksheets like this, it's about lives, it's about communication, and it's also about a thriving community, right? A thriving community where we are able to respectfully speak to each other and be able to just be there for each other, right? So this isn't about becoming someone new. It's about coming back to yourself, finding yourself, right? So one thing that I want to say is the journey is not going to be easy, right? The journey is not going to be easy. However, like I say, you are not doing this alone. You don't have to do this alone, right? So if you are ready to start this journey, I want you guys to the first thing I want you guys to do is download the worksheet. Download the worksheet first. And if you're ready to go a little deeper, okay, the Dear Me program is where we can do this together. Like I said, Mondays, you guys can catch us from 7 p.m. to 9, which is the intro of the program. But on Wednesdays, we are going to go through all 10 questions, all 10 questions. There's also challenges up there, you guys. There are going to be live in-person workshops. There are going to be online in-person workshops. And you guys are able to, guess what? You can chat. You can do whatever you want in here, respectfully, right? So the goal is for us to be consistent, right? Consistent. Be consistent with self-awareness, be consistent with healing and also personal growth, and be very transparent on where we are today, right? So you guys don't forget to subscribe to Ray Lewis on YouTube, right? I want you guys to subscribe to Ray Lewis on YouTube because eventually we will be doing our lives over there. And also that is the home of Dear Me. This is my personal page. And I want to tell you guys, I appreciate you guys for joining the Dear Me Live. I really do appreciate you guys. This is our first time doing this. I am just beyond grateful that you guys took your time out and you said, you know what, hey, let me go ahead and join in on my girl live, you know. So again, I want to say thank you guys for joining the Dear Me Live. Don't forget to download your free beginner Dear Me worksheet and also join us on Wednesdays from the same time, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Until next time, peace and love. Thank you guys.